Dear friends and family, let me begin by saying how much we appreciate your support for GSMI. Every dollar and every item that you have donated has truly made a big difference in the lives of desperately poor in Bangladesh and Nigeria. As you know, GSMI has been feeding, clothing, schooling, and bringing fresh water to the poorest villages of Bangladesh. Recently, our missions have been able to build a well in our Nigeria that is literally saving lives. The previous well had run dry, and many were sick and dying from drinking contaminated water. As a result of the new well, the villagers, who are practicing Muslims, are giving praise to Jesus for sending this life-saving clean water. Allah did not answer their cries for help, but Jesus did. Our field workers in these regions are working very hard to distribute provisions, to organize building efforts, and also handle all the administrative work necessary to make this happen. Dalam Ghazi resides in Dashore, Bangladesh, and heads up and coordinates all these efforts there. Austin Eza heads up these efforts in Nigeria and has been responsible for managing the development of the new well and spreading the gospel. To date, I have made a total of 7 trips to Bangladesh over the last years to visit these impoverished villages. Over the years, GSMI has provided hope to these remote villages. When I visit, I can literally see the hope in their eyes and on their faces. Their own government does not help them, but GSMI does. Each time I go, Dalam hosts me. He is my security detail and coordinates every detail of the trip. Some of you have had the privilege of meeting Dalam via video call. To help further this ministry effort and that of Austin's, we believe that God desires for them to visit the U.S. The purpose of the extended stay in the U.S. is for Dalam and Austin to share in a face-to-face personal way what they have been doing and what God is doing through these ministries, and for them to learn and experience GSMI in the U.S. Dalam and Austin need a visa to come to the United States. As you might imagine, this is costly and requires significant documentation for visa approval. GSMI has begun the process of working with an experienced lawyer who specializes in immigration visas for religious and nonprofit organizations. Applying for the visa is a long and arduous process that requires much documentation and supporting evidence to be provided to the Department of Homeland Security before a visa will be granted. Much of this documentation centers around evidence that supports the legitimacy of the ministry, educational programs, photos and videos, written materials, and financial records. GSMI operates on a shoestring budget, and yet has been able, with your support and the support of others, to do big things such as build wells, toilets, and schools, and has provided for the basic health and well-being of 300 orphans and widows with items such as food, blankets, and medical care. Funding typically flows into the ministry for specific needs and quickly flows out to meet those needs. As a result, significant reserves do not exist. Part of the request from the Department of Homeland Security is to prove that the necessary funding is in place to support the basic needs of transportation, food, and housing during their time spent in the U.S. The immigration lawyer has recommended that $8,000 be secured for Dalam and Austin to meet this need, totaling $16,000. GSMI cannot proceed with obtaining the visa until this funding is secured in the bank account. Much thought and planning is going into their time spent here in the United States. Specifically, here are things that we'll be doing during their time here. 1. Learning the technology that is used by GSMI to produce video content and educational materials for distribution to the pastors working in the villages of Bangladesh and Nigeria. 2. Give presentations at various churches in Virginia and Maryland on the work that is being done in Bangladesh and Nigeria. 3. Volunteer along with other GSMI helpers during the outreach events as a training ground for learning how to coordinate larger efforts. 4. Austin will undertake ministerial studies from an accredited curriculum produced by Kingsbury Bible College, and Dalam will work on translating this curriculum into the languages that can be understood in Bangladesh. Please consider giving to this very important need in any amount that you are able. GSMI will prayerfully wait as God moves on the hearts of those He has called to support bringing our Christian brothers Dalam and Austin to the United States. In Christ's love, Sultana Jones, or Mama T, GSMI President, along with the entire board of GSMI. Kevin Jones, Vice President, Robin Luther, Secretary, Chris Luther, Board Member, Renee Dyer, Treasurer. You may contact us at gsmi.life. That's gsmi.life. Thank you.